What's going on, people? This is the Black Trekker. So I wanted to talk to you about something that has been on my mind for a while in relation to the Star Trek universe. And with my observance of other YouTubers, this has never been brought up. Well, it was brought up once, but never brought up really again after that. And this is going to be a relatively quick video, but comfort. Comfort in the Star Trek universe. Quality of life in the Star Trek universe. Happiness in the Star Trek universe. I mean, Captain Benjamin Sisko said it's easy to be a saint when you live in paradise. And in the 24th century, the Federation, most importantly, Earth, is a paradise. You want for nothing. There's no war. There's no pestilence. There's no issues, no racial disparity, no police brutality, none of that. And I know it's a utopia for all intents and purposes, but the reason why I bring it up is because when you look at the vessels that the Federation employs and uses, they're like luxury liners. They're like yachts in space compared to the other powers in the galaxy. Starfleet has the best ships, the most comfortable living, bar none. I mean, let's look at the Galaxy class starship, the largest vessel that the Federation has made to date. The Galaxy class is 647 meters long, which translates to about 2,100 and something meters long. I mean, that vessel is longer than the Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world. And it's over 300 meters wide. And I'm talking about it's over 300 meters wide, like in the secondary hull. The saucer is probably, I would dare say, at least 800 meters. So the saucer is even larger than the total length of the ship. But the funny thing about it is that the saucer alone has, a YouTuber did a video. So I have to correct my previous statement. A YouTuber did a video on space for the Galaxy class starship. And the saucer section alone has more than, I want to say, 1 million square feet of living space. So that right there lets you know that the saucer section has more than enough space to accommodate 1,014 people. Way more. And I mean, I'm talking about family and crew together. That's why they probably implemented the Galaxy class starship having families, because they knew that it was going to be so large by comparison to the original Constitution class, which was like 300 meters long. So it's more than double. And the saucer section is way, way bigger. Now, comfort. The Galaxy class starship has a gymnasium, full-size basketball courts probably, holodecks, multiple holodecks that are the sizes of full-size gyms. It has arboretums. It has a stellar cartography, which the stellar cartography is like the size of an NFL football stadium. It has 10 forward, which is basically the bar. It has a variety of science offices, and then also it has a lot of storage facility areas. I mean, that's why it's called the Galaxy class. It is designed to travel the whole galaxy in comfort. Let's talk about living rooms. Rooms that they actually, like, you could live in. An individual officer or crewman gets a room that's around 950 square feet. That's the size of a 2-bedroom apartment. A modern apartment. That's the size of a 2-bedroom modern apartment. That's what a regular crewman gets. So, that's massive. Then let's just talk about someone who is a lieutenant or first lieutenant or a lieutenant, junior grade, because they're officers and crewmen are enlisted. They get around 1,200 to 1,300 square feet of space. That's just an officer and a low ranking one. I think it was rated that they said that Will Riker's room was 1,900 square feet. 1,900 square feet as the commander, second in command, number one on the starship. Only eclipsed by the captain, which his room was 2,200 square feet. 2,200 square feet. 2 apartments and some change. That's how big the captain's. And then they also had rooms for ambassadors that were larger than the captain's room. The ambassador's room was like 2,600 square feet. That's a damn house. That is a house. So the Enterprise D was a massive ship. I mean, by comparison to the Romulan D'Deridex class starship, it's small. By comparison to the Borg cube, it's minuscule. It's tiny. But those ships are not about creature comforts. They're about efficiency and housing the largest number of crew. I think it was said that the Enterprise D could hold roughly 10,000 people on it. They'll be cramped, but it's possible. So, with that being said, that's pretty amazing. I mean, when you look at videos, when you watch Star Trek, Next Generation, almost every episode is the hallways are damn near empty. Always empty. You know, I think it was one episode where they were coming to a space dock and they were doing some kind of, what was it called? It was a sweep. It was a sweep of the cells to remove some kind of particle that's dangerous after it builds up. That was the first time the hallways were jam-packed. But I dare say that on a ship that big, it would be impossible for you to see the whole entire crew in every hallway. No way. I mean, they did a video, and the video showed that you could have all 1,014 people, all of them, in the saucer section of the ship. And I think the saucer section is comprised of like 6 decks. And to give you context how big a deck is about 10 feet high. So that's 60 feet of saucer that the crew is. And for every section, the nearest crew member would be maybe like 60 feet away from the other one, spread out evenly. That's amazing. That lets you know that there's an abundance of space in that ship. You would never get tired of being on that ship. You would probably get lost. So that's why building anything bigger than an Enterprise D is kind of like ridiculous. It's like, what? Why? That ship is perfect for exploration. Now, of course, I would have some modern conveniences that I would like to have in it. But all in all, it has the comfort, the room, and the space. And then also, with the advent of holodecks and replicators, my goodness, your lifestyle would be great. I would be pigging out all the time. Imagine eating ice cream and eating steaks and eating all the things that are unhealthy in this particular era and not gaining no weight. Or I could probably replicate it where it'll have all the caloric cost. But the bottom line is outstanding, wonderful. So when you think about it, when you're watching Star Trek and you're looking at, just think about the comfort. I mean, it's a luxury liner in space. It has everything that you would need. Not to mention the fact you could be chilling in your room and you can say computer, iced tea, sweet. And the replicator, and you look and it's right there. And you taste it and it's sweet. Or like Tucker Carlson said, and Tucker Carlson was the chief engineer of the NX-01 Enterprise. he is like, I want some pan catfish. And a few seconds later, he had pan catfish because they had the information of the genome of the actual fish, and they also the ingredients of the actual recipe to make pan catfish. And he was like, not bad. So replicators definitely have their place. Next time you watch a Star Trek episode, take the time out to notice the little things like comfort. Ask yourself, would I be comfortable in that position? Would I want to live on that type of ship? Because we can always get hung up on the battles and the storylines, and we can get hung up on the wonderful speeches that Picard makes. But truth be told, you got to ask yourself, would I mind living in that particular time? Because the technology is super advanced compared to where we are. They have superluminal speeds that they travel around the galaxy. But the question is, would you be comfortable there? Would you be comfortable in a 1,200 square foot apartment style dwelling on a starship? I know from my perspective, living in an apartment that's 930 square feet or 950 square feet, I absolutely would be comfortable. And having the ability to listen to music. All I have to do is say, computer, play some jazz. Or computer, play some salsa from Colombia. And it plays it. Or it gives me a listing of all of the artists in the last 100 years that was able to play music like that. So I would be very comfortable. And I would be able to watch games, all the TV shows that I miss. I'd be like just say hypothetically I was like a Buck Rogers and I went to the 24th or 25th century and they had that technology. I would be sitting there and I'd be watching every single episode of all the Star Treks that came out. Star Trek Picard season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See what I'm saying? And then Strange New Worlds, season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'd be watching all those seasons in my room when I'm not on duty. So I would absolutely be comfortable. And I'll be absolutely, only thing I probably wouldn't be comfortable with is the attire that they wear, the clothing for being in Starfleet. I think their clothing, unless you're in really good shape, is going to be uncomfortable. But if you got some love handles or you out of shape or you fat, I think just wearing traditional clothing would be more suited. Now, because of their technology being so advanced, I'm pretty sure they can render being fat something that's not realistic anymore. You won't be fat. But aside from that, yeah, I would like the 24th and 25th century. More along the lines of the 25th century. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to leave you with this question. How long do you think if you lived, or better yet, you were thrown into the 25th century, 2409, do you think it would take for you to adapt to that technology in that particular time frame? For me, being a cognizant adult, and if I had my family with me, I would say realistically, probably 10 years to really get accustomed to everything and to be familiar with the technology and how it works and the intricacies of that technology. 10 years. Definitely. And if I was stationed on a starship, I would be able to function, no problem. So with that being said, thank you for taking the time out your day, your evening, or afternoon. Like, share, and subscribe. And remember, live long and prosper.